Hello students, welcome to eduptable.com, your online gateway to the world of invaluable knowledge. In our last session, we started our discussion regarding the multi-period compounding. We tried to understand that what exactly multi-period compounding means and what exactly effective interest rate means in the context of the multi-period compounding, as well as the fact that how exactly effective interest rate is higher than the nominal interest rate. And secondly, we tried to understand that the concept of multi-period compounding can be used across any kind of a cash flow, and it can also be used in order to calculate the future value as well as the present value. We also saw the basic yet very important difference between the formula of EIR, that is formula for calculating the effective interest rate, as well as the formula for calculating the future value of a lump sum cash flow which is undergoing a multi-period compounding. We also saw a basic numerical with the help of which we try to understand that how exactly the EIR is being calculated, and we try to understand that how the EIR is more than the nominal interest rate. Over here the EIR means the effective interest rate. Now students, this session will be the concluding session for the topic multi-period compounding as well as for the entire chapter time value of money. So in this session we shall be wrapping up the concept of multi-period compounding as well as the overall chapter time value of money shall come to an end, after which in our successive discussions we shall be taking up a new chapter, a new topic for discussion. So students, before I closed my last discussion with you all, we said that we shall be taking up an illustration dedicated towards calculation of the future value of a present lump sum undergoing a multi-period compounding. So let's begin our concluding session by taking up an illustration which shall help us in understanding that how exactly the future value of a present cash flow is being calculated under the influence of a multi-period compounding. Now the illustration says XYZ Limited Bank pays 15% interest compounded quarterly on a 3 years deposit of 1000 USD. How much shall be Mr. William earning if he wishes to deposit his 1000 with XYZ Bank Limited? The question is pretty straightforward, which says that XYZ Limited Bank pays 15% interest compounded quarterly on a 3 years deposit of 1000 USD. How much shall be Mr. William earning if he wishes to deposit 1000 USD with XYZ Bank Limited? So the interest rate in question is 15%, and this 15% interest is not supposed to be compounded only annually. Rather, this 15% interest is supposed to be compounded on a quarterly basis. Therefore, the nominal interest rate of 15% shall undergoing 4 quarterly semi-annual multi-period compoundings. Therefore, it will be I upon m. Time frame will be 3 years. The actual time frame will be 3 into 4. That is the number of the multi-period compounding shall be 4 multiplied by n, 3. That is 4 into 3, 12. The present amount of deposit is 1000 USD. So in light of these inputs, we need to calculate at how much will Mr. William earn from such a deposit of 1000 USD, which shall be compounded on a quarterly basis for the next 3 years against a nominal interest rate of 15%. Therefore, by applying the formula Fn is equal to P into 1 plus I upon m into raised to the power n into m, we get the following. So the P, as I already discussed, the P is 1000 USD, that is the present value. I is 15% compounded quarterly. Therefore, the I upon m shall be 0.15 upon 4, and n will be 3 years into 4. Why? Because the compounding is being done 4 times in a year. Once again, students, it is not that 15% into 4 is being given to Mr. Williams. Mr. William is not certainly getting 60%. Rather, he shall be getting 0.15 upon 4. That is 15% nominal interest shall be paid to him across 4 times in a year. Therefore, it shall be I upon 4, that is 0.15 upon 4. So applying the formula, we get Fn is equal to 1000. P is 1000, that is present value. into 1 plus 0.15 upon 4 raised to the power n into m, that is 3 into m. We are just replicating the formula which has been given over here. Therefore, Fn is equal to P 1000 into 1 plus 0.15 upon 4 bracket close into n into m, that is 3 into 4. Therefore, the Fn works out to be 1000 into 1 plus 0.0375, that is 0.15 upon 0.0375 raised to the power 12. Now, one thing we shall be seeing over here, student, what does this 0.0375 mean? I repeat, what does this 0.0375 mean? It means that 15% nominal interest, when it has been segregated across 4 times in a year, so for every quarter the interest rate is somewhat 3.75%. So once again, students, when the nominal interest rate of 15% has been segregated across 4 times in a year, so for every quarter, for every 3 months, the interest rate becomes somewhere close to 3.75%. So it is 3.75% on a quarterly basis what is being given to Mr. William for the next 4 quarters. So the final calculation works out to be Fn, that is F3 after 3 years, is equal to 1000 into 1.0375 raised to the power 12. Why 12? Because it was 4 into 3. So the future value is 1000 into 1.555 is equal to 1555 USD. So Mr. Williams' deposit of 1000 USD after undergoing multi-period compounding of 4 times in a year, or a quarterly multi-period compounding of 4 times in a year, shall finally fetch him 1555 USD at the end of the 3rd year, or at the end of the penultimate year, which is the 3 years. So this is how the multi-period compounding concept is being applied to calculate the future value of a present lump sum, which is growing across I% nominal interest rate as per the multi-period semi-annual compounding method. Now, this was the formula, or this was the illustration which highlighted the use of the multi-period compounding concept in the case of calculating the future value of a lump sum. The same concept can be applied in order to calculate the future value of an annuity at the same time, or ordinary annuity at the same time. So the future value of an ordinary annuity under the multi-period compounding can be found as under: Fn is equal to, again, A stands for the annuity amount, within curly brackets, within small bracket, 1 plus I upon m raised to the power n into m minus 1 curly brackets close whole upon I upon m. So this formula, a careful look shall reveal that almost the entire formula is the same, is identical one which we use for calculating the future value of an ordinary annuity. The only change is that wherever the interest rate has been, the nominal interest rate has been mentioned, it has been divided by m, or 1/mth of n, and the n, or the number of years, has been raised to the power of m, that is n into m. M refers to the number of times the compounding is undergoing for n number of years, in n number of years. Now let's try to tweak the last illustration which we handled in the case of Mr. William. Suppose from the last illustration, Mr. William chooses to deposit 1000 at the end of every year for 3 years at 15% to be compounded quarterly. What shall be the future value he shall be getting? So if Mr. William deposits 1000 USD at the end of every year for the next 3 years at 15% to be compounded quarterly, the future value of his annuity deposit shall look as follows. Applying the formula, Fn is equal to A into, within curly brackets, 1 plus I upon m curly small bracket close to the power n into m minus 1 within curly brackets upon I upon m. So the annuity amount is 1000, because now instead of making a lump sum payment, Mr. William is making a payment of 1000 as an annuity for every year for the next 3 years. So the amount of present value of a lump sum has been replaced by the annuity amount of 1000, 1 plus 0.15 upon 4. Why this is so, we have already seen, raised to the power 3 into 4 minus 1 curly bracket close whole upon 0.15 upon 4. So upon solving the terms within the brackets, we are finally arriving at the figure of 14,800 USD. So 14,800 USD is the amount which Mr. William shall be getting against a annual deposit of 1000 as against a one-time lump sum deposit of 1000 growing for the next 3 years against a nominal interest rate of 15%, but undergoing a semi-annual multi-period compounding. I hope this entire calculation is clear, students. If you want, I can just repeat it once again for you. Putting the variables in the respective places in the formula, Fn becomes 1000 into curly brackets 1 plus 0.15 upon 4 raised to the power 3 into 4 minus 1 curly bracket close upon 0.15 upon 4. Therefore, Fn is equal to 1000 into curly brackets 1 plus 0.0375 raised to the power 12 minus 1 upon 0.0375. Therefore, Fn is equal to 1000 into curly brackets 1.0375 to the power 12 minus 1 curly bracket close upon 0.0375. Therefore, Fn is equal to 1000 into curly brackets 1.555 minus 1 curly bracket close upon 0.0375. Upon solving this, we get the figure 14.8, and upon multiplying 14.8 against 1000 USD, we get the final amount of 14,800 USD as the future amount of an annuity of 1000 deposited for the next 3 years against a nominal interest rate of 15%, undergoing a semi-annual continuous compounding. Now, coming up to the present value calculation, the present value of a lump sum can be calculated under the multi-period compounding by the following formula. As I have already said, students, earlier also, that the concept of multi-period compounding can be used across any kind of an cash flow, whether it is an lump sum, whether it is an annuity, and it can be used extensively in calculating the future value as well as the present value. So the last two discussions were dedicated towards calculating the future value of a lump sum as well as an annuity against a multi-period compounding. So this present discussion will be focused towards calculation of the present value of a lump sum under the multi-period compounding effect. So the formula is P is equal to Fn upon 1 plus I upon M bracket close raised to the power n into m. Now, one thing more, students, if you take a closer look to the formula, this formula is absolutely akin to the formula which we use for calculating the present value of a lump sum, wherein P is equal to Fn upon 1 plus I to the power n. But only a small modification has been done. Just like the last case, I has been divided by m and n has been raised to the power multiplied by m. So what does it mean? I has been divided by m, so as to incorporate the I-mth portion of the nominal interest rate being paid in a particular year, and n into m represents the number of times the compounding is taking place in one particular year across n number of years. So if in a year the compounding is taking place semi-annually or quarterly, and if n represents to more than 1 year, so n into m shall represent the number of times the multi-period compounding is undergoing across n number of years. So let's try to understand it in a better fashion with the help of an illustration. The illustration says that calculate the present value of $15,000 to be received after 3 years at 15% compounded quarterly. The question says calculate the present value of 15,000 USD to be received after 3 years at 15% compounded quarterly. It means that the sum of 15,000 USD shall be received after 3 years, and we need to calculate the present value of the future amount or future lump sum amount of 15,000 if it is being compounded quarterly against a nominal interest rate of 15%. So the nominal interest rate is 15%, which needs to be compounded quarterly in order to calculate the present value of a lump sum of 15,000 USD after 3 years. So the P is equal to, applying the same formula, P is equal to 15,000 upon 1 plus 0.15 to the power of 4 raised to the power 3 into 4. So therefore P will be, P is equal to 15,000 upon 1.0375 to the power 12. So P is equal to 15,000 upon 1.555. Therefore, the present value works out to be 9,646.3 USD. So, the present value of the future lump sum amount of 15,000 USD to be received after 3 years, undergoing a quarterly compounding of 15% nominal interest, works out to be 9,646.3 USD. So this is the 9,646.3 USD is the present value of the future lump sum receipt of 15,000 after 3 years against a quarterly compounding of a nominal interest rate of 15%. Hope this simple formula is clear and its application has made the concept even more clear and well received from your end. Once again, students, the formula for present value of a future lump sum is almost the same, with a minor exception that instead of simply taking the I as a whole as a nominal and taking the n number of years, we are simply dividing I by m so as to incorporate the concept of 1/mth portion of I, and n upon m simply shows that the number of times the compounding has gone across n number of years. Now, in case of calculation of the present value of an annuity under multi-period compounding, the following formula is used. So, in case of calculating the present value of an annuity under multi-period compounding, the following formula is used. What does it mean? That the last example was, the last numerical was dedicated towards calculation of the present value of a future lump sum, while this particular numerical on this particular example helps us in calculating the present value of a future annuity under the condition of a multi-period discounting phenomenon. So once again you find that the formula for calculating the present value of an ordinary annuity is absolutely the same, with the only difference that I is been divided by m and n has been raised to the power multiplied by m. So everywhere wherever there is I, it has been divided by m so as to incorporate the 1/mth of I principle, and wherever there is n, it is being multiplied by m as an exponential power so as to show the number of times in a year the compounding is taking place across n number of years. So if it is taking place for more than 1 year, so n shall be representing the more than 1 year and m shall be representing the number of times that compounding is taking place in more than 1 year. So illustration says that calculate the present value of an annuity of 10,000 USD for 15 years compounded at 10% semi-annually. Once again, student, the question says calculate the present value of an annuity of 10,000 USD for 15 years compounded at 10% semi-annually. Now the question requires us to calculate the annuity amount of 10,000 which is supposed to be obtained for the next 15 years, and the nominal interest rate of 10% is being compounded semi-annually. So the multi-period compounding over here which has been involved is that for semi-annual, and the nominal compounding rate is that of 10%. So we are required to calculate the present value of an annuity amount of 10,000 USD. Since the multi-period compounding is for semi-annual, the discount rate or I shall be I by 2. We have already seen that wherever there is I upon m means 1/mth portion of I. So m over here represents the number of times the multi-period compounding is required to give an effect to, whether it is semi-annual, whether it is your quarterly, as a case may be. So in this particular question, since the multi-period compounding is supposed to be that for the semi-annually, we are dividing I by 2 or I by m, which is I by 2 or 0.10 by 2, that is 0.05 for every 6 months. If it is semi-annual, it means twice in a year, and the time or n shall be n into 2. So n, we all know, n is for 15 years, so n into m, 15 into 2, why 2? Because so as to show the number of times the semi-annual multi-period compounding is taking place across n number of years. So since we know that the multi-period compounding is taking place twice in a year, semi-annual, so 2 shall be multiplied by n, which is actually 15 years, thereby giving us n is equal to 30. So applying the formula, once again students, P is equal to A multiplied by, within curly brackets, within small bracket, 1 plus I upon m raised to the power n into m minus 1, curly brackets closed, whole upon, within small bracket I upon m, small bracket closed, multiplied by small bracket 1 plus I upon m, small bracket close, n into m. So putting the variables at the respective places in this particular entire mother formula, we get P is equal to annuity. Amount of annuity is 10,000. We are required to calculate the present value of annuity. Therefore, present value is equal to 10,000 within curly brackets 1 plus 0.10 by 2 into 30, that is 15 into 20 minus 1 within curly brackets upon 0.10 by 2 bracket close, again within bracket 1 plus 0.10 by 2 raised to the power 30. Therefore, P is equal to 10,000 within curly bracket 1 plus 0.05 to the power 30 minus 1 within curly brackets 0.05 into 1 plus 0.05 raised to the power 30. Therefore, P is equal to 10,000 within curly brackets 1.05 to the power 30 minus 1 curly brackets close upon 0.05 into 1.05 raised to the power 30. Therefore, P is equal to 10,000 within curly brackets 4.322 minus 1 within curly brackets upon 0.025 into 4.322. Where did I get this 4.322 from? The question is that where did I get this 4.322 from? So 4.322 is the future value of 5% against $1 for the next 30 years. So that is 4.322. So therefore, P is equal to 10,000 into 3.322 upon 0.2162 is equal to 1,53,725 USD. So the present value for a future annuity works out to be 1,53,725 USD. So this amount represents the future value of an annuity of 10,000 for the next 15 years, fetching a semi-annual rate of interest of 0.05 against a nominal interest of 10%, compounded semi-annually. So this is how the formula for calculating the present value of a future annuity helps us in calculating the present value of a future annuity across n number of years against I% rate of interest, compounded either semi-annually or quarterly. Now students, one exercise I would like you to do at home or do it by your own. Over here we assumed the m to be 2, that is we undertook the calculations keeping in mind that the semi-annual multivariate compounding is being pressed into action, but you can very well solve this formula by replacing the semi-annual with a quarterly multivariate compounding. So all you need to do is that you, instead of dividing the nominal interest of 0.12 by 2, you have to divide 0.10 by 4, and the power of n into m, instead of becoming 30, it will become 15 into 4, that is 60. So try and see what is the final present value you are getting with keeping all the other variables constant. Just change m from semi-annual to a quarterly. So instead of being I by 2, instead of writing 0.12 by 2, you shall be replacing it by 0.10 by 4. Everywhere it shall be 0.10 by 4, 0.10 by 4, and this exponential power of n into m shall be raised to, instead of 15 into 230, it shall be 15 into 4, 60. Rest all the variables shall remain the same. This annuity amount of 10,000 shall be absolutely constant. Leave it untouched. So try to solve it by yourself and then see what is the present value you are getting, and try to justify your answer by asking yourself that why exactly the present value under a semi-annual, under a quarterly multivariate compounding is different from that what you got under the semi-annual compounding method. So if you work it out with this brief mental exercise, you shall be appreciating the concept better. Now students, keeping in mind the fact that in case of multivariate compounding, the discount rate should be modified to I upon m and the time should be adjusted to n into m. The future and the present value of an annuity due, as well as amortization and annual sinking fund transfers, can be calculated as well. Now students, in the very beginning itself, I told you that the concept of multivariate compounding can be used across any kind of cash flows. So they are not restricted only towards a lump sum or an annuity. So we can calculate the present value or the future value under the assumption of a multi-period compounding, whether it is semi-annual or quarterly, across any cash flow patterns. So when we are using the word any cash flow patterns, it means that we can calculate the future and the present value for an annuity due. We know what is an annuity due. It is an annuity due refers to the annuity payment or receipts which we are getting at the beginning of the year. Instead of getting it at the end of the year, we're getting an annuity due, as well as amortizations. We have seen already amortizations and the annual sinking fund factors, the capital recovery factors, etc., etc. So it can be used across the basic cash flow patterns of a lump sum and an annuity, or it can also be applied across some specific cash flow patterns arising out of amortization, capital recovery, annuity due, etc., etc. But in order to apply it freely across any cash flow pattern, the only 2 points which we should keep in mind, only 2 simple points which we should keep in mind is, once again, that wherever we are finding I in the equation, when I use the word equation, it means that the equations which we have already studied till now, dedicated for calculating the present value or the future value of any kind of an cash flow. So there is no need of changing the entire equation. The entire equation need not be changed because the equations have been derived out of some solid understanding of the basic ideas of progression. So they have been conceptually and logically framed, so we need not change them. The only small change which we need, or small tweaking which we need to make in the already established formulas, is that wherever we are confronted with the I, wherever we are finding the I, that is the interest rate, and this I in itself refers to the nominal interest rate. We already seen that till now we were talking about the conditions wherein the compounding is being done annually, but in the real life situations, conditions might arise wherein the compounding might be done in a semi-annual or in a multi-period compounding method. It might be quarterly as well. So wherever we are coming across the term I, it should be divided by M. I divided by M, students, we already know it represents that 1/mth portion of the I, not I into M, but I upon M. So keep this thing very clear in your mind. So when we say 10% semi-annual, doesn't mean 10 into 220, but 10% semi-annual means 10 upon 2, 0.05 for every first 6 months. So I upon M refers to 1/mth portion of I, and N into M, once again, student, refers to the number of times the compounding is taking place across n number of years. Once again, student, N into M refers to number of times the compounding or M is taking place across n number of years. So n number of years, it refers to any n number of years, 5 years, 6 or 10 years. And if the compounding is being done semi-annually, if it is being done quarterly, then it shall be n into 2 or 15 into 2 or 10 into 2 or 15 into 4 or 10 into 4, as the case may be. So in all the formulas, you shall be just seeing it right under over here, that all the formula under the conditions of an annuity due, and calculating the future value of an annuity due, the present value of an annuity due, capital recovery or amortizations or sinking fund transfers, we have discussed at length. We have discussed at length all the concepts. We have tried to understand their derivation, their mathematical derivation. We have tried to understand, we have tried to bolster our understanding with the help of numericals. So we have undertaken the future value of annuity due, the present value of annuity due, the capital recovery, amortization, sinking fund transfer, all the typical cash flow patterns which we might encounter in our day-to-day lives have been taken care of, has been discussed fully. So you find, if you take them, I've just listed them in a sequence for you so that you might not face any difficulty. A closer look at the formula shall reveal that the entire set of the formula remains the same. Only wherever there is I has been replaced by I upon M, and wherever there is N has been replaced by N into M. Once again, students, the entire set of the formula remains the same, with a minor change that wherever there is I has been replaced by I upon M, and wherever there is n number of years, N has been replaced by N into M. So let's take up the first one. First condition is calculation of the future value of an annuity due. Annuity due, finding that Fn is equal to A into 1 plus I upon M, bracket close, raised to power N into M minus 1, whole upon I minus m multiplied by I plus I into m. So we are using this term I plus I upon m as a suffix because we know that since it is an annuity due, the one full year's interest earning should be taken into consideration. So you will find it after a careful observation that the entire formula for the future value of an annuity due remains the same, with the only exception that I and m has been replaced by I upon m and n into m respectively. The same case in calculating the present value of an annuity due, the entire formula remains the same, with an only exception that I has been replaced by m, and that is I has been divided by m, sorry, and n has been multiplied by n into m as an exponential power. So in the case of capital recovery also, we need to calculate the amount of amortization, we need to calculate the annuity amount which we need to receive from the borrower, which shall help us in recovering our proportionate principal as well as the interest. We've already seen it with the help of the amortization tables and illustrations also. So the entire formula once again remains the same, but only point is that wherever there is I has been divided by m, and n has been multiplied by m. So in the case of amortization, A is equal to, or the amount of amortization is equal to the present value of the loan within curly brackets I upon m into, within small bracket, 1 plus I upon m, small bracket close, raised to the power n into m, within curly brackets, upon 1 plus I upon m, bracket close, n into m minus 1. So the entire mother formula is the same, with only difference that I has been replaced by I upon m and n has been replaced by n into m. Last but not the least, same in the case of a sinking fund transfer. We know that every year we are required to calculate an annual amount in a sinking fund which we are required to accumulate at the end of n number of years in the future. The only difference between capital recovery and sinking fund is that for capital recovery, we are trying to get the loan which we have given right now or which we have taken right now, and we are trying to recover it through the annuity receipt or payments, while in the case of a sinking fund, our liability is likely to, or financial commitment is likely to arise n years down the line in the future, for which we need to transfer an annuity amount, fixed amount, systematically in a disciplined manner every year into a sinking fund so that the future corpus of a lump sum amount may be built up, with the help of which the liability may be taken care of or repaid. So the formula for your sinking fund transfers, that is A is equal to F, that is F refers to the future value of the loan within curly brackets I upon m by 1 plus I upon m into n into m minus 1, curly brackets close. So students, the entire formula remains the same, with the only exception that I has been replaced by I upon m, and in the denominator part also I has been replaced by I plus m within the small bracket, and n has been raised to the exponential power of n into m and minus 1, which shall help us in determining the annual amount that needs to be transferred to the sinking fund transfers. So I hope, students, that till now we had a very informed discussion. We learned a lot of things. Now it's up to you to apply these concepts into some numericals. Do practice at whatever numericals I have managed to work out for you. They are just for your guidance. They are just made for your hand holding. But the more and more numericals you practice by applying the concepts which I have discussed with you, the more you shall be becoming more and more proficient in this particular topic of time value of money. So students, this topic of time value of money formally comes to an end today. But you will find that once you grasp this topic properly with full command, the successive topics will become very, very easy for you, because from now onwards, whatever we shall be discussing, the concept of present value and future value shall be present in front of you in each and every case. So now it will become a normal routine for us to bump into present value and future value, annuities, amortizations much more often than what we have discussed right now. So my best wishes, students. Thank you for being such a patient learner. Wish you all a very happy learning. Thank you, dear students.